Alright, the first thing you're going to do is open up Camera Raw. So to do that, we're going to open our file. So we're going to go File, and if you're on a PC, you're going to say Open As, or if you're on a Mac, you're going to say Open, and then you're going to change this to, you're going to hit Start, and then you hit Options. We want to change it to Camera Raw. So if you're on a PC, you're going to say Open As Camera Raw. Or if you're on a Mac, you're going to do what I just did, open, and then options, and then open as Camera Raw. So we click open. And what this does is it opens in another program called Camera Raw, which is part of Photoshop. This program allows you to edit the raw files of photographs that you've taken on a digital camera. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to use our white balance tool. So if you go up to the top here, so we have right here, we have our color sampler, we have our white balance. Alright, so we're going to click on white balance, and what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the white in this picture. So right now everything, the total values look very red. So what we're going to do is we're going to say what is white. So I see if I zoom in on her shoe, so I'm going to zoom in, Control plus, or I can use my little magnifying glass. So I see the white on her shoes. I'm gonna make this white, and that automatically adjusts the whole picture. Maybe I'd choose this white on I actually liked it better on the shoe. So by choosing this to saying that this should be white, it takes all the red out of that color and every other color on the page that has the red. So let's say it had 10% red in it, so it reduces the whole picture by 10% red, and then now I have a better looking photo. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten and use the crop tool. We can do this in Camera Raw. We can go right here and we can use crop tool, but it's better, let's use it in Photoshop. So we have other tools in here. I'm gonna hit undo on that. So we also have over here temperature, so we can cool this temperature off right here because it's a little bit yellow still. I'm gonna cool it off with some blue. And then you have your tint, so maybe you want to add in some red or maybe make it more green. I'm gonna go back. Oops, I took it too far back. So let's do this again. So white balance, I'm going to go here, click on her shoe, and I'm going to make it a little bit more cool, the color temperature. And again, there's other things down here, contrast, vibrance, you can bring out the contrast. I think we're going to do that later on. But let's see here, contrast, let's raise the contrast just a little bit, and then open image. Alright, so I have this now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my crop tool to crop this and straighten it. So I click on my crop tool. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tools down, and you can hold down on. You have crop, perspective, slice. So we want our crop. Our option bar changes as always, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the crop tool to straighten the image. So if you look up here at the top, there's a little suitcase. Click on the suitcase, and that gives you this tool. It looks like you can see it has an X, a crosshair, and then the little suitcase. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a horizontal line in the picture, and we're going to straighten it. So I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to drag across probably about this much and use that to straighten my image. Alright, once I straighten it, I click check mark at the top. So let's do it again because I actually want to straighten it and then I want to crop it a little bit more. So find my horizontal line and I go across and I click it and it straightens it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in all my edges so that so I get rid of all that extra white. And you might have to crop it a little bit more than normal because you're trying to get rid of all the white. So I got rid of the white on the left and the right, and you can see the image is still rotated within the box, but that's fine. Also, before you click check mark, turn off that delete crop pixels. That way, if you need to go back, those pixels aren't gone. It increases your file size a little bit, but in the long run, it might be more useful. So I click like that. I missed a little bit down here. We can fix that later. So next thing I want to do is crop out any white areas around the border. We did that. Use the spot healing to remove crack. So I'm going to get rid of this, get rid of these, and this. Next thing I'm going to do,
what's it called?
Alright, so for these darker spots along the side here, we're going to use our clone stamp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my clone stamp, which is right here. It looks like a little rubber stamp. Click clone stamp. And I'm going to hold down Option on my keyboard, and that selects the area. So if you see the target, that means I'm holding my Option key or my Alt key on my PC. I'm just going to paint those out. So Option, paint this out so it smooths it out. And then I'm also going to get rid of the graffiti. So I'm just going to line it up directly above, come down, and paint out the graffiti. So I'm not getting rid of the big one, I'm just getting rid of the stuff at the bottom, at the top. Right? Right, so every time I hold down my Option or my Alt key, I'm selecting from an area and I'm painting it. Painting with that area. So I'm going to come down here, paint out this little edge. I'm going to line it up directly above and paint. Right, so that's gone as well. Next thing we have to do is use the sponge tool. So I'm going to come down to my sponge tool. So it's right here. It might show you dodge tool initially, so you right click and change it to sponge. With the sponge tool selected, you're going to go up to your options bar at the top. Make sure it says desaturate or saturate. So we want it to be saturate. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to saturate this wall. So I'm not going to do too much, but I'm going to add more yellow to it. So make it stand out, make it more vibrant. And you can keep going and going, but you don't want it saturated. You have to be kind of careful with it because you don't want it to be so bright that you lose the definition of what's underneath. So if I keep doing right here, it gets so bright that it starts to lose the definition of what it was. The colors become too strong. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go to my history, click on my history, go back one step, so take that back. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the color of our hat to match her socks. So I'm going to click on my magnifying glass, I'm going to zoom in and hold on my space bar to move my screen. And I'm going to go to my color replacement tool, it's right here. You might have your brush tool, your pencil tool. So right click, click color replacement. So we have three options in our options bar. We have continuous, one color, and background swatch. So what we want to do is we want to do continuous or once. For the hat, if I choose one color, so hold down my option, select the, oops, I actually had the color. Let's go get the color. So hold down my option key, select her sock color. I'm going to go up to her hat. I have my tool selected, I have one color. So if I click on this red and I drag over here, it does not paint outside of the red color, so it only paints what's red. You see it's getting a little bit of the brick wall because that was kind of red as well. So that is the one color tool, so one color selection. So I'm going to go back. This time I'm going to do continuous. So continuous means it'll just keep painting to the next color that I select. So I painted and I'm going on the wall. If I go down here, it'll keep painting. So I don't want to do that. So as I drag my mouse, it selects a new color and it finds that color. So for the hat, I want to stay in the bounds, so I click on my one color and I'm just going to paint. And anything that I'm not able to get with the one time over, I can go back, click on it, oops, go back and click on that color and paint, and it'll just select that one color. Alright, so that's it. So now her hat matches her socks. And what we're going to do is we're going to save it. So file, save as, because we don't want to save over our initial one. And we're going to go JPEG. So change it to JPEG. Click save. I'm going to replace the one on my desktop. Click OK. And that's it. So I hope this was informative. Submit it to Canvas when you're done.